These people have a legal right to resistance. Make no mistake. Regardless of the paperwork, regardless of the Western backing, what Israel is doing is illegal, and what the Palestinians are doing in this process is 100% legal. Criticizing what they're doing is no different than criticizing the partisans during World War II, the Jewish partisan movement, and the Jewish resistance against the Holocaust. It's no different. The only reason why you would consider this in any way, shape, or form different is because you don't see the Palestinians as human. That's it. I agree for the immeasurable loss, extended my deepest condolences. Oh no, he was too busy posting about the fucking 7 Israeli occupying force terrorists that got fucking exploded in southern Gaza while they were doing a genocide, by the way. Just make no mistake. I haven't seen the video, but I will say this. I have a really good solution to all of these brave sergeants and staff sergeants, okay? Half of them were like literally 20, by the way. Don't fucking do a genocide. It's simple. The very fact that there are still Palestinian resistance forces amidst an ongoing starvation campaign and an ethnic cleansing campaign, that they are still able to smoke Israeli occupying forces with real frequency, as a matter of fact, is a testament to two things. One, the diaper force is ass cheeks. And two, the Palestinian resistance is unimaginably resilient. Make no mistake, for the record, the Palestinian resistance, no matter what faction they're from, has a legal and moral right to do this, as opposed to the Israeli occupying force that does not have a legal right to do a genocide, nor even a legal right to do any sort of military campaign on a captive civilian population it is the belligerent occupier of. Okay? This is not the same assessment as October 7. Since we have seen that the only way that Israel stands down is when it's met with insurmountable force, perhaps instances like this will cause Israel to reconsider its ethnic cleansing campaign. I haven't seen the video. I've just read accounts of it. Al-Qassam fighter storms Israeli APC in Han Yunis, kills 7 soldiers in close range ambush. Also, another like 10 additional fucking units were also severely, gravely wounded in the process, I think. In a dramatic ambush captured on video, resistance fighters from Hamas's military wing carried out a complex operation against 2 Israeli armored personnel carriers near the Ali ibn Abi Talib Mosque in Han Yunis, southern Gaza. Israeli authorities acknowledged that the attack, part of the David Stones campaign, Hijrat Dawood, has killed 7 soldiers, including an officer. Some 15 others were reportedly injured. Some of them were actually seriously injured, for the record. Footage released by Al-Qassam shows one of its fighters running towards an APC. I can't show you this, obviously, because I would get banned for it, because Twitch TOS. Not that it shows anyone dying in the process, but, you know, TOS is wonky. Footage released by Al-Qassam shows one of its fighters running towards an APC packed with Israeli troops, climbing aboard under fire and dropping a Shuaz explosive device directly into the command cabin before withdrawing safely, all while filming himself with his cell phone in the other hand. According to Al-Qassam, the attack was followed by a second ambush targeting Israeli military rescue efforts, reportedly resulting in additional casualties. The operation has been widely circulated across Arabic media and pro-resistance channels, hailed as one of the most direct and high-risk strikes carried out at point-blank range since the conflict began. It marks the single largest loss for the Israeli military in Gaza since it renewed its genocidal assault in March this year. Now, let me tell you something. That's the difference between a settler colonial enterprise illegally occupying an indigenous population and the members of militancy within the indigenous population that is not only defending their ancestral homes, but also defending their neighbors, their community, while they are being starved deliberately and ethnically cleansed off of this land. Okay? That's it. A lot of people will say, oh, I can't believe you're celebrating this. Those people do not have a fucking moral backbone. They do not have a leg to stand on. The easiest solution to not have your fucking Nazi troops die in the process is to no longer do an ethnic cleansing campaign. These people have a legal right to resistance. Make no mistake. Regardless of the paperwork, regardless of the Western backing, what Israel is doing is illegal, and what the Palestinians are doing in this process is 100% legal. 100% legal. Not only is it legal, it is the moral thing to do as well. Criticizing this and complaining about it and saying you're brainwashed terrorist glizward, like this fucking dipshit just said. You don't have to ban all these people. We can have a little bit of discourse here. But criticizing what they're doing is no different than criticizing the partisans during World War II, the Jewish partisan movement, and the Jewish resistance against the Holocaust. It's no different. The only reason why you would consider this in any way, shape, or form different is because you don't see the Palestinians as human. That's it. The massive swing of public perception on Palestine has been one of the best things I've seen in my life. It's unfortunate that they came at the cost of so many lives. Yes. Now, this kind of casualty on the Israeli occupying force, the diaper force side, is also creating dissent inside Israel after the Khan Yunis ambush. In the 24 hours following the Khan Yunis ambush, where at least 7 Israeli soldiers were reportedly killed and 15 wounded, senior Israeli political figures from across the spectrum have publicly questioned the continuation of the war. Though the operation was under military censorship, details of it were likely known to officials as these statements emerged. Yair Lapid, leader of the opposition party and the head of the centrist Yesh Atid party, released a video reiterating his call to end the war in Gaza. Let me say something to you, okay? Make no fucking mistake. This is why I said Israel also took a fucking fat L on the Iran campaign, because its ambitions were far greater. Benjamin Netanyahu thought that he could do the final play and destabilize the Islamic Republic while simultaneously continuing his genocidal operations, which never stopped, as a matter of fact, even during the tit-for-tat bombing campaigns. But the reason why this was a big L for them was also because America did not involve themselves in a more meaningful fashion and basically remove the attention off of Israel in the process. There was a limited retaliation towards an American base, Al Udeid. It was a symbolic retaliation. It was an off-ramp, and Trump took that off-ramp. And then that ceasefire came. And I know for a fact that the war cabinet did not like that ceasefire came. They wanted America to join in on the conflict and finally take the battle directly to Iran. Not only were they unable to do that, after 12 days of bombing, the Israeli government showed that they did not have the capacity to defend their own citizens. For the first time ever, normal Israeli society experienced some retaliation, incurred penalties. Israeli civilians died in the process. They were killed with Iranian rocket fires. Some inside of their own shelters, and some that were sleeping and could not make it to a shelter in time. That is a major blow to the confidence, because Israeli society prides itself on being a Western-style nation where you can have a laptop job, you can get a fucking matcha latte while there's a genocide going on 50 miles down the road. You can shelter yourself from the impact of war. You can shelter yourself from the impact of the violence that you cause all around the vicinity. So the more things like this happen, okay, the more Al-Qassam fighters are able to take out terrorists that are engaging in ethnic cleansing in the Gaza Strip, the less appetite Israel will have for war. That is what you're seeing here. This is why I say Israel is done, okay? The Zionist project is over. It is on its last leg. I know it doesn't seem that way because you're seeing you're seeing so much death and destruction. Every day there's 50 Palestinians starving, looking for aid, being fired upon. You see perfidy every single day. You see numerous war crimes unfolding in front of our eyes. And it feels like this ethnic cleansing campaign is going to continue, but it's done. This is Israel's last chance of making any sort of gains here. Okay, it's over. It's done. When you have, yes, independent researchers and journalists go into Gaza and see the true horrific scale of the genocide revealed in real numbers, in raw numbers, it will be undeniable. And you're already seeing that from outside assessments talking about how there's perhaps 377,000 Palestinians that are unaccounted for, that are simply missing right now. They're not missing, they're dead. Israel murdered them. And I think even that is a severe underestimation. I think the Lancet study early on arrived at the correct number. We still talk about 60,000. That number is such a severe underestimation that it's basically akin at this point to genocide denial. Harvard report reveals 377,000 missing in Gaza based on Israeli military's own data. This is on top of the 60,000 plus that have been killed directly by Israeli rockets or directly by Israeli missiles or directly by Israeli gunshots that have been logged in the diminished, crippled healthcare infrastructure that still remains in the Gaza Strip. The 60,000 have been confirmed. The 60,000 have names associated with them. The hundreds of thousands have not been revealed. This is before we even talk about the number of Palestinians that have died as a consequence of not being able to get their medication, the number of Palestinians that have died as a consequence of famine and famine-related diseases, treatable illnesses. That is why the Lancet study is significantly higher, and significantly was higher even a year ago, because that Lancet estimation factored in all of the additional war casualties, all of the additional deaths that are born out of destroying all semblance of existence in the Gaza Strip, reducing it to nothing but a fucking crater, as you can see in this photo.